Welcome back to WCW Nitro, and tonight it is the go-home show for Super Brawl 2000. We've got a massive 8-man tag team match, loads of other stables going on. We're building towards the pay-per-view. I can't really remember who I promised title shots to in other matches, but we'll get there when we get there. Tonight's Nitro. Welcome back to Spike Piledriver. This is WCW 2000 on Total Extreme Wrestling 9, but we have a twist. The show is booked, but now we have to go into our random generated booking and get... Oh, okay. And tonight's our change to the card is, as brought to you by Random Numbers, it's extramarital affairs. If a wrestler's wife or girlfriend is on the roster, start a love triangle angle. Now, we already have a bit of a love triangle angle with Canyon, Kimberly Page, and DDP. Now, we need to find someone else who has got a spouse on the roster. Right, let's look at the roster first. How are we going to do this? We will search for people who are female, because that will be the easiest way to find anyone. Right, Asia. I don't think she's married to anyone on the roster. Let's have a look. Oh, she's engaged to Dale Torborg. Potential, because neither of those are included anywhere right now. Daphne, let's have a look. She is married to someone outside the wrestling business. Don't care. Excellent. Elizabeth, Kimberly's the next one. She is divorced from Randy Savage, so we ain't going down that one. Kim Page, we're already included. Leia Meow, Kimona Wanalea. She's dating someone outside the wrestling business. Excellent. What about Medusa? No, I don't want to talk to you. Sorry, go away. She's married to someone outside the wrestling business. It's looking like it might be Asia at this point. Midasia, she's got a negative opinion of Scott Steiner. Why is she managing him then? Didn't realise that. Midnight. Positive opinion of Booker T. That's not interesting to me. Stacey Keebler's dating David Flair. Interesting. Potential there as well. Very much WCW. Mona. No, nothing for her. Paisley, is she dating Booker T yet? No, she's not. She's got a positive opinion of Prince Iakea and a negative one of Ric Flair, though. What about Shakira? Shakira, her hips don't lie, but she doesn't have a relationship. Symphony. Openly hostile towards China? No. I mean, Tori Wilson, I think we've struggled with Billy Kidman enough so far. Let's work on that one, maybe. Tigress isn't... Okay. So, our options are Asia and Tori Wilson, who are both part of the Revolution currently, and Miss Hancock, who we haven't really brought on screen at all, and I'm pretty sure one of Lenny Lane and Lodi are no longer with the company. If we just, let's have a look. Lenny Lane is there. Lodi is gone. So, do we do David Flair in a love triangle with someone else? He's not currently dating her on screen, though, so maybe that potentially... I'm tempted, really, to just mess about with the Revolution and do something in there, because we've got Tori Wilson and Billy Kidman in the Revolution. Asia's not in the Revolution, but Dale Torborg is on the roster. He's the demon, wherever he is. The demon here. I don't really have anything interesting to use him for. I think we're going to mess around with Billy Kidman and Tori Wilson again. Do some sort of love triangle. Maybe get... We've only just turned Billy Kidman heel, though, so do we do that? Maybe we have to go a different route. Maybe we start mentioning the on-screen, the David Flair and Miss Hancock relationship. In fact, I think we might have to, because the only other way of doing that is dropping a proper WCW face turn for Billy Kidman, even though we've just turned him heel, and he's working nicely with the Revolution. Right, Miss Hancock is heel. David Flair is also heel. Let's find someone who is male and has some reasonable sex appeal to make this worth our while. Let's see what that brings us out so far. We're not using you, Billy Kidman. Booker T? See, no, we need someone. Hoovy? Maybe Hoovy wants to date Miss Hancock. Maybe that's how we're going to go. Kevin Nash would always be a good option, wouldn't he? I think we have to it has to be someone who's a face. So how are we going to do this? I think it might either be Hoovy or Booker T at this point. Where we go, we want disposition face. So it's not going to be Goldberg. He's out in January. Could be Booker T's already involved in a couple of different angles. Hoovy, Psychosis, Rey Mysterio, maybe. Obviously, the problem we've got with that is that we've got a face and two heels. Maybe we need to start turning Miss Hancock from heel to face. Let's see about that. Where is she? Let's reset everything. Right, we're gonna do this. This is a lot of talking about, like, gimmick details. She's Censor. No, we're gonna prepare a gimmick change. She is going to be. I haven't got any creative ideas. Let's have a look. How do we get some inspiration? Like, what does Babe mean? Is she generic, standard? Okay, we'll go with that. Yeah, we'll call her a Babe. We'll go creative, unique, a bit more in that sort of space, but it's standard. Okay, confirm. Okay, we've done that. She's going to become a new gimmick. Handle turn. She needs to. Okay. Oh, why not? Screw it. It's not done on my turn. We'll turn her face. We'll turn her face. We'll get some sort of tension between David Flair and Miss Hancock building here because David Flair's got a match. So, Flair... hang on. Right, we've got to make sure we get the right Flair. David Flair is seen backstage talking to Miss Hancock. It looks like they are in a relationship, but are having an argument. Here we go, excellent. And then, who did I say was going to be involved? Did I even get that far? Maybe we... Let's drop Rey Mysterio. I can't remember who said. Rey Mysterio. We'll do sort of a love quad. We'll do that. Rey Mysterio and Booker T walk by and console Hancock after Flair storms off. There we go. We're going to do this. Love quad. Brilliant. No, Kevin Nash, don't get worried. We're not going to do anything to anyone's quads. Right, backstage angle. It's kind of... Yeah, we'll go serious. Why not? Right. Okay, so we need David Flair. No, that's Daphne. David Flair. He can be doing some sort of... I mean... Yeah, he's got no ability whatsoever. He can do some sort of character development. Miss Hancock can look sexy. That's the point of this. Sex appeal there. Wonderful. And then we're getting Rey Mysterio and Booker T involved in yet another angle. So we're already teasing the fact... Well, they've got a match with Harlem Heat at the weekend. And then we're teasing a potential feud with the Revolution. And now they're getting involved with former tag team champion David Flair and his now on-screen girlfriend, Miss Hancock. Wonderful. Why not? We'll go with that. We'll book that one in. Love Quad can drop in somewhere before here. That one. After our random angle with Berlin and his group. And before the match with Chris Benoit. Right, let's go to the show. It's the 14th of February in the year 2000. This is WCW Nitro. I believe it's our 8th Nitro of the save. We're about to embark on Super Brawl at the weekend. So we will go through this closing Nitro before the pay-per-view. It's the... whatever the show's called. What are they called? Go Home Show. That's the phrase I'm looking for. Right, let's do it. Let's start the show. And we begin with Hulk Hogan in the ring. He talks about all the good stuff he saw last week and all the crap with the NWO. Still acting like it's 1996, but they're just a cheap imitation of when Hogan was there, obviously. The Outsiders take exception to this and come down to the ring. Nash gets in Hogan's face and tells him that without the Outsiders invading WCW, Hogan would have been booed out of wrestling for good and be stuck making straight-to-video movies that nobody cares about. Hall and Nash made Hogan cool again. I'm sure he did. Steiner and Jarrett attempt to sneak up behind on Hogan, but before they can attack, Sid, Ric Flair and Kurt Hennig arrive on scene to even the numbers, and the Nature Boss makes an 8-man tag team match for tonight's main event. A 4-part angle ranging from 59 down to 48, getting an average of 53. Went on too long for the audience. Never mind. Well, they're going to have to get used to it because that's what's happened. Next up, backstage, Benoit, Piper and Sabu of the New Four Horsemen. What an eclectic mix of characters are with Mean Gene. Tonight, Piper and Sabu take out the backup, and then Benoit makes the King of Madness Inc. tap out at Super Brawl. The US champion will continue his reign after Super Brawl, and he's got a warm-up match tonight against David Flair. You will have seen that already. Sabu then spends the entire segment just pacing back and forth like a madman, distracting both Piper and Mean Gene. That one gets a 43. Possibly could have been better, but it was Benoit doing the main angle of talking. Next, in our first contest, Billy Kidman defeats Chavo Guerrero Jr. in 5 minutes with a shooting star press to make defense number 3 of this reign of his cruiserweight title. A good, solid opening contest, a 43 rating, all solid in the ring. Kidman and Tori Wilson got pretty good chemistry at ringside, and it gave the crowd a nice little boost. We're still on hot. We haven't lost the crowd already, and we're on to segment number 3. Excellent. We're going to go basically from here until like the hour mark of Nitro in one cut. So it's all happening, all linking together nicely. By that, I mean that Shane Douglas and the rest of the Revolution join Kidman in the ring. Douglas shouts about how great his cruiserweight champion is, and then calls out 2 jobbers into the ring to face the best tag team in the world, the uncrowned champions of Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn, because they are definitely winning lots of tag team matches, and this isn't just a slightly thrown together angle. By the way, we're in New York. I forgot to mention that. 3,770 people in attendance. 36 rating for that one. Next match, the Revolution beat said jobbers, Jamie Howard and Elix Skipper, so that's Noble, by the way, quite easily. Perry Saturn with the Rings of Saturn making Elix Skipper tap out. A good solid match. Obviously the jobbers acting like jobbers, losing. 44 rating for that. Saturn and Malenko both got tag team specialist bonuses here. Elix Skipper is getting better at his gimmick of being a jobber. I don't know what his gimmick is, but that's what it is right now. 44 rating and oh, okay, no, we don't. I forgot I dropped this angle in here. Never mind. Sid is backstage with Mean Gene. He's fed up of talking about beating Nash to become the world champion, and as such is talking about it. He plans to follow through on Sunday night and become the WCW champion of the world. 42 rating there. Back to the ring. What a poor angle placement that was. Very WCW production. Right, in the ring, the Revolution are still there. The tag champs Booker and Mysterio make their way out. Booker talks about already having one team trying to get up in their business, and now they've got the Revolution claiming to be uncrowned champs. Booker and Ray Ray are going to beat brother Stevie Ray and his replacement at Super Brawl on Sunday, and they'll be happy to then show Malenko and Saturn who the best team is next week on Nitro. Maybe we're booking a title match for a week's time. Whoever wins between the Harlem Heat and Harlem 619, whatever that is, will face the Revolution on Nitro. There we go, 33 rating there. Next match, Booker T and Rey Mysterio defend the titles against the Marmalukes. Good crowd, terrible wrestling. Marmalukes go out in 5 minutes. Big Vito is pinned after a Super Hurricane Rana. Defense number 2 of the tag titles for this makeshift team. Johnny the Bull being the weak link, but only just because Big Vito is hardly any better. The crowd are simmering down a little bit after this one, but Ray and Booker putting in some strong performances. 34 rating for the segment. We move onwards, though, because next up, Hogan is backstage with Mean Gene. He tells Mean Gene that he wants a member of the NWO 2000 in the ring at Super Brawl, and he's checked with the Nature Boss, and it looks like Jeff Jarrett is free. So Hogan tells him that his prayers will be answered. No, he tells him to say his prayers, take his vitamins, because he'll need more than a cheap guitar to save his slapnut ass on Sunday. Mean Gene wraps things up, though, and as he does, Hollywood Brother walks by Hogan, who just looks at Mean Gene and goes, "Who is that dude, brother?" And Mean Gene is like, "Yes, it's the Hollywood Brother. Who do you think it is? Douche." Anyway, we get the Hollywood Brother completely dragged down the second part of this angle, but he still gets a 49 rating anyway. Hogan's still suffering the effects of personal issues because he's a racist. 49 rating for that one. Next up, we've got the NWO in the ring. They do a rundown of Super Brawl, a final pay-per-view advert, essentially. Nash will once and for all overcome the threat of Sid Vicious for the WCW title. Hall has the perfect, pun intended, opportunity to prove he's the better man over his old friend Kurt Hennig. Jeff Jarrett will show the world that Hogan is washed up and that NWO 2000 is the best version yet. And then Scott Steiner rants about Ric Flair and calls out the commissioner for not accepting his challenge. And then there is a second part to this angle which you can't see on screen, but Ric Flair comes out and accepts the challenge from Scott Steiner, and he'll see him in the ring tonight for the 8-man tag. This one gets a 54 rating. Everyone did well off script. I'm not sure why it only got a 54, but the crowd are now white hot. Excellent. Moving on. We've killed them a little bit, because we see DDP walking in the back and he's attacked by Canyon and the Wall. Wall sends Page crashing through a table, allowing Canyon and Kim to pose over him. These pair will go to war, not the Wall, but they'll go to war at Super Brawl, and I'm not sure whether this is one of the matches that I've said the winner gets a title shot, but it's WCW. You know, this kind of thing happens. No one pays attention anyway. Next, we see Berlin defeating El Dandy. He actually got a really good rating, a 40 rating here, for a complete throwaway 1-minute match just to get Berlin on the screen, because he's part of a stable, if you hadn't realised, that we created thanks to one of our randomly generated booking tasks a few weeks ago. We'll see about them in a second. But Berlin gets the victory with a German suplex because he's German. And then in the next angle, he calls the troops to the ring for a victory speak, but he can't get a word out before Disco Inferno's music plays, and he starts doing a celebratory dance in the ring. Hugh Morris and the Barbarian, the other members of Enmity, or whatever they're called, are not amused with Disco's dancing, and Berlin just walks away. 33 rating. Disco is comic relief. That's all he is. Next up, okay, whatever. David, if this ruins the tag time champions, I'm going to be annoyed that I've decided to put them in here. You've already seen this one as we wrote it. David Flair backstage with Miss Hancock. Looks like they're in a relationship, but not for long. They're having an argument. And Hancock, who probably will need a better name shortly, is consoled by Rey Mysterio and Booker T as they walk by and Flair storms off. Right, let's handle changes. Let's just change gimmick. No, we want to perform the turn. Yes, performing the turn would automatically include... Okay. No. Turn, and then we'll do the gimmick as well. Excellent. She's got a small penalty to her microphone skills during angles. Okay, she's not going to be talking. She's just going to be looking sexy. That's the whole point of a babe in WCW 2000, obviously. Very good initial rating. Good. Let's see. Turn went badly, though, because she's turned quite recently, apparently. I'm not sure when she did, but there we go. 34 rating there. We're going to split these pair up, even though they've only just become an item on screen. Next up, back to the regularly scheduled program. Randy Savage is backstage with Mean Gene. He tells him that Benoit is nobody's choice for the future of WCW, and he'll take the US title at Super Brawl. Macho Man will also be at ringside to scout his opponent in tonight's warm-up match. He gets a 54, and Randy Savage was superb without a script. Had the crowd in the palm of his hand the entire time, but it only got a 54 rating. Figure that one out, if you please. Next up, in fact, before we go into this next one, it's because our backstage morale is so poor, it's tanking everything. Anyway, Benoit beats David Flair in 4 minutes with a crossface. Daphne, who's not David Flair's girlfriend, did some good work at ringside, but Benoit made defense number 3 of the US title. Randy Savage was just wandering around backstage, ringside as well, but we'll see him in a second because he dives into the ring and attempts to sneak up behind Benoit as the rest of Madness Inc. head down to the ring. That's Buff Bagwell and Bam Bam Bigelow. But the sides are evened up when the arrival of the rest of the 4 horsemen, Roddy Piper and Sabu, evens the sides. The 4 men who are about to have their tag team match get ready for that, as Savage and Benoit have a bit of a war of words as they are separated and sent to the back. 42 rating there, straight into our tag match that sees the new 4 horsemen get a victory over Madness Inc. when Roddy Piper made Buff Bagwell submit to a sleeper hold. A bit of an oddball pairing for both sides, but that is what you get when the random booker tells you what to do. A 58 rating for the match, though, and the crowd is still very hot. This could be a really good Monday Nitro. I think our record last week was a 63 overall. Let's see if we can get that. I don't think anything's actually over that yet, so we might not. Anyway, next up, we've got a 2-part angle backstage. Total Package and Liz are talking to Mean Gene, who gets about. Luger is on about all the damage he's going to cause to Sting at Super Brawl. He's going to make him retire for good and claim his rightful place as the #1 contender for the WCW title. I think this is the match that I said would be for the title. Luger's interrupted and we cut to a graveyard scene where Vampiro is seen digging a grave menacingly, and Sting tells Luger that it will not just be his... No, it will... Hang out there. It will not be his career. Oh, it's not going to be Sting's career that's going to be over come Sunday. The Stinger has had enough of his former friends stabbing him in the back, and he'll take no prisoners with Luger at Super Brawl. At some point, I'm probably going to turn Vampiro on Sting, so this might be a bit of foreshadowing that he's digging a grave in the background. I don't think I'm going to do it at Super Brawl, but just be warned that I might do. So there you go. 48 overall rating for this one. The second part dragged up the overall average. Right, next, the main event. Why? What is with all these red things? Anyway, Wild Brawl, NWO take on Sid, Hogan, Hennig and Flair. The match just descends into chaos after 9 minutes. It's thrown out. It's a draw. It gets a 59 rating. Sid is unhappy and phoned in his performance. You aren't going to win the world title if you're doing that. By the way, Sid also asked for his release a few weeks ago. I said no, because I was planning to potentially give him the world title. If he keeps doing this nonsense, it's not happening. Scott Hall's in poor form. Hogan is going through personal issues, and Ric Flair's in poor form as well. So this match was a bit dubious from the beginning, and it's tanked a little bit. 59 rating for the match. I'm going to assume the angle afterwards isn't as good, and we're not going to beat last week's score. Gets a 50. Wonderful. Hogan again, poor, because of personal issues. Basically, chaos as Nitro goes off the air. 8 men brawl in the ring with Super Bowl opponents pairing off. No clear winner, but buy the pay-per-view and watch the video on Sunday as well, because it will be on Sunday. Because we're following the real pattern of Mondays for Nitro, Sundays for pay-per-view. So there you go. Excellent. It gets a 50 overall rating for the angle, and that gives us a 55, which is poor. Nothing. Not a single standout. Everything was okay, but nothing stood out as good. So now usually we get a bit of crap on the show and some really good high points, and it drags the overall rating up, but this time it didn't. So wonderful. Financial wise, we've lost money on the show, which is not good. Great. We're going bankrupt, aren't we? Popularity wise, we're down again. Yeah, excellent. It's nothing could be avoided here. I thought we were turning things around. This was actually, I thought, a well booked, within context, well booked show, but just nothing amazing happened, and it was all just okay and good, and that's not good enough. So wonderful. Wonder what backstage chaos has come out. Okay, nothing. Okay, wonderful. Terry Taylor doesn't like Midnight. Well, I mean, she's not really doing anything, so okay. TSN are unhappy with Nitro last night. Wonderful. And oof, okay. Coming up next, it's Super Brawl on Sunday. The titles look like this as we go into the pay-per-view. Kevin Nash still world champion. Booker and Ray, tag champs. Benoit, US champ. Dustin Rhodes is hardcore champ, if you care about that. And Billy Kidman is the cruiserweight champion. If we look at the pre-booking, these are the matches that should be on the card, hopefully. We've got Booker T and Ray defending against Harlem Heat. Kurt Hennig against Scott Hall. DDP against Canyon. Kevin Nash in the world title match against Sid Vicious. Savage and Benoit for the US title. Ric Flair and Scott Steiner. Total package against Sting for a #1 contendership match. I think in that one, Sting can get disqualified, but Luger can't, if I remember correctly. But we'll figure that out as we get to Super Bowl, which is on the 20th of February 2000, or Sunday, if you're watching this on YouTube, which you should be, because where else would you be watching it? That's a little bit strange. Right, WCW 2000 is done for tonight. I'll see you on Sunday for Super Brawl. 5 days' time. Excellent. Good luck. 6 days' time. I can't count. See you then. Thanks for watching.